Hi everybody and welcome to the NASCAR Cup Dates YouTube channel. My name's Elliot Camis and me and my co-host Dan will go over the happenings at Atlanta Motor Speedway as well as make our picks for New Hampshire this weekend. First of all, Dan, I have to get you in here. How have you been? How's your week been?
Hey Elliot, as always, thanks for having me, man. Always a pleasure to be here. My week's been fantastic so far. This past weekend was Atlanta, had a few guys over the house, and it was everything that I always wanted it to be, man. Especially when we get a few guys over, have a cold one, or three in my case, get the grill going, burgers, dogs, brats, all the nice smells of just what a summer evening should be. With a great track like Atlanta, it was everything I hoped it would be, man. I hope yours was just as good.
Okay, so we're starting with the big story coming out of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hometown hero Chase Elliott dominates to take home his third win of the season, a series leading. So what did you think of his performance in that number 9 Napa Chevrolet? He obviously won both stages and won the race as well.
Well, look, both Chase and Hendrick have seemed to found what this new car can do faster than anyone else. That's not even a surprise to me. But this goes to show Chase Elliott's enormous talent. No matter what I keep seeing from folks online and forums and comment sections, people trash talking this kid. Look, this kid has talent. He is a serious contender week in and week out. And he has been on top of the points for the most of this season with his just overall consistency. Chase Elliott is a dominant force in this league. I don't care if anyone says he got the silver spoon because of his last name. Sure, he may be as popular or somewhere close to as Dale Jr. was, getting almost as large of a fan base following as he did. But that doesn't change the fact of what he's doing. He's already won a championship, and he looks poised to possibly get two very quickly. This kid's a serious contender. I think he has a chance to win the Cup this year. And how can anyone doubt him? I'm pulling for him, man. He's not my overall favorite pick to win the Cup this year. I'm pulling for him, and I would love to see it. Back on to you, Elliot. How do you feel about Chase's dominating performance this year, and especially what he's done at Atlanta this past weekend?
Well, I think that performance in Atlanta was reflective of his whole season. Yeah, third win of the year, series leading. He was just in control of the field this entire race. Obviously, like I said, both stages, stage 1, 2, race win, incredible. In doing so, he became the second native driver to win in Atlanta. Second Georgia-born, the other being his father, Bill Elliott. Those two became the second father-son duo to win in Atlanta. The others being the Earnhardt. And another second was that he is the second Hendrick driver to win on the new track surface. So given that we've been to New Atlanta twice, what are your thoughts on the new track layout?
So this new form of Atlanta, I've got mixed feelings on. On one hand, I adore it. Super speedway style racing is by far one of the most entertaining forms of racing we have as NASCAR fans. Just that entire concept of almost the whole pack bunched up in one mad scramble to the finish. That is fun. That is a lot of fun. But one thing to take into account in Atlanta that you don't see at a Daytona or a Talladega is the width of the track. Atlanta is so much more narrow. Trying to get a 3-a-side battle at Atlanta is suicide. You'll see 3 to 4 wide packs over at your Talladegas or Daytonas, and trying to block that is near impossible. But here we go at Atlanta, and we're seeing a lot of very simple blocks when you get up front, where the run isn't as prevalent as you'd see at a lot of other tracks. I'm for it. I think it can be improved. I want more of it. I'd love to see them try to work on Atlanta a little bit more. I don't think they're going to put in more time to try to tweak the track more as they just overhaul the entire format of the Speedway. Bottom line for me, I think they could stand to widen the track a little bit, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Back on to you, Elliot. What do you think about this new form of Atlanta? Now that we've gotten the sample size from earlier in the year and the full-size course, now the teams know what to expect How do you feel they could improve the track, if anything? And what's your opinion on it?
I personally like the new track. I prefer old Atlanta. I prefer the old track layout, but I think it's purely just for the fact that the turns are so thin. If you're going to have that style of racing, you need to widen the turns. I just think it's too skinny, I won't say too easy to defend, because obviously cars manage to get past, but it feels like once you're in clean air, you kind of have an advantage over everyone. I don't know if this race counts as a super speedway or an intermediate. I still don't know. But I did overall enjoy it, and it does present some new opportunities for drivers. Speaking of Corey LaJoie, what did you think of his last move? Was that maybe fair or foul, in your opinion?
So I want to make my opinion on this known right from go. I'm a firm believer of if it's on the last lap and it's for the win, saying it's foul, there has to be a lot of malicious intent for something to be blatantly foul. If you're going for the win and it's hell or high water, we're doing this, you gotta make moves some people aren't gonna like. That's how you win races. I wanted Corey LaJoie to win this one so bad. I was emotionally invested in this dude. Everybody in my place was screaming for this guy, just on our feet, pulling for him to make that move. Chase Elliott did what he had to do to win. Do I agree with it? Yeah, I do. Do I like it? No, I don't. Not at a personal level, but I understand it. Chase Elliott did everything he had to do to get that W, and I don't think he intended to take Corey LaJoie out. If you're touching the underdog to try to get yourself a win when you're already a champion, that's a shady move, but I don't think he intended to do that. I think he just wanted to throw the block. He was there, and Chase just followed through with it. He got the win. I understand it. It hurts, but I get it. Back on to you. How do you feel about the move? Was that a fair or foul move in your terms?
I always loved Corey LaJoie, and to see him finally, he was there for the win, and he scored that top 5 in the spring, which put him on the radar for this season. His first top 5 finish in his career in that Spire Motorsport. I mean, Spire's not the fastest team, let's be real. But Corey outdrives that equipment. You'll see him constantly outdriving equipment that he's racing. It's a matter of time, I feel like, until a team picks him up. Whether or not that's a powerhouse or it's a midfield team, I don't know. But someone needs to pick this guy up. He is the definition of a self-made driver. I felt like it was a fair move, personally. You're going for the win of the race. Why isn't it a fair move? I felt like the block by Chase Elliott, fair move. He won the race. Of course it's a fair move. It works for him. I don't think you could fault either driver for going for it there. I think it was a bit of a lazy slide. You maybe could have tried and faked him going down the backstretch, or wait until the final 2 turns where he really had no room. But I feel like the cars being side by side really didn't help either. So, yeah, I feel like it's a fair move. It obviously was. You can't fault it. Last lap of the race, you want to go for it. You want to do these things. You have to put out every stop to try and stop the guy in front of you from winning. He tried it. It didn't work for him, unfortunately, and he was ever so gracious in defeat. Went up to chase in victory lane. Fair play to Corey LaJoie. Very fair play, and I do believe it is a matter of time until he's signed by a better team. Perhaps Richard Childress Racing in 2024, which brings us on to our next topic. Big news from the week, huge news, is that Tyler Reddick will be moving to 2311 Racing for 2024. Will he, and this is a huge speculation question, will he replace Bubba Wallace, who has had, outside of these pit incidents, subpar runs, subpar performances, or will he replace Kurt Busch, who retires at the end of 2023 perhaps? Or the other option, 2311, have a third charter, it wouldn't surprise me with the rapid growth of that team. Reddick will stay with Richard Childress Racing through 2023, but what do you think on the possibilities that I've just mentioned for Tyler Reddick?
Oh, this Tyler Reddick news is the craziest thing I've heard all year. 2 years early, year and a half, whatever you want to call it, out of left field. I suspected he was going to be leaving this organization one way or another within a couple of years, but not like this. 2 years early, RCR just took one on the chin, and it wasn't even on the track. Tyler Reddick just says, thank you guys for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure. I'm out of here. Denny Hamlin's giddy as a schoolgirl saying, I raced him. I saw him. I wanted him. I got him. He got his man in the worst possible way. And RCR's sitting there with all the egg on their face. The 3's the flagship car of the team. You know it is. How can the 3 not be? And Austin Dillon is the most average guy I've seen on the track in a long time. Tyler Reddick has outperformed his equipment every week. And we're saying, oh man, when's he going to get it? He finally does over Chase Elliott at one of Chase's best tracks and just says, deuces. I'm out of here, guys. Thanks, but no thanks. RCR doesn't know what to do with themselves, but this isn't even going to happen until 2024. How do you do that? How can you just say, oh yeah, not this year, not next year, but the year after that? I'm beyond words, man. I am totally beyond words about this situation. Back on to you, man. How do you feel about this Tyler Reddick situation? Because honestly, I'm still recovering from it.
I think it's incredible for Tyler Reddick, and Denny Hamlin was right. He raced against him. He saw what Reddick was like. He wanted him. He got him. Thing is, I think he left Richard Childress Racing because they only picked him up for 1 year. It's not surprising. Well, I'll say it's not surprising. That's bad of me to say. He was carrying Richard Childress Racing. It's not surprising to see him want more. Childress only picked him up for 1 year. You know, to the end of 2023, they picked up his option. Why wouldn't you renew the guy that's carried your organisation for the last 2 years for a multi-year deal? Why wouldn't you make it appealing for him to want to stay? It just doesn't... It confuses me why they didn't offer him a better deal. Obviously, Denny, with the team that he's built with Michael Jordan, who wouldn't want to work for Michael Jordan? Come on. Who wouldn't? I mean, but also with a driver like Denny who knows about driver development, who knows what he wants to see from his team, who knows how to build a team very well. We have seen this. So I think it's a great move for Tyler Reddick. Obviously left Richard Childress Racing in a bit of a hole, but they do have time to fix it up. They do have time to fill the hole. They do have time to find replacement. They have a lot of development drivers in the Xfinity Series, associated team, Corlig Racing, in affiliation with them. Maybe Justin Haley moves over. You know, Noah Gragson can make his move to Cup. You know, there's so many options for Childress that I don't think there's time for worry for now. You know, and finally, we do have to bring this subject up again because it happens, it feels like week after week, is that Ross Chastain, again, too aggressive, took out multiple drivers involved in multiple incidences. Do you think that Ross needs to dial back that aggression? Agreeably with Justin Marks, that aggression is what got him into the Cup Series. But how long can his team owner really go on to defend his actions when he's making so many enemies?
So Ross Chastain, he is probably the most curious driver this whole season. All eyes have been on him, but now not for all the right reasons. He keeps losing talent consistently and getting into a lot of the wrong guys. Unfortunately, it's the same guy a lot of the time, and Denny Hamlin's just done with it. He's going to retaliate. I think he's moved up his timeline a little bit to when it's going to happen, or maybe he moved it back a little bit, looking at a playoff date or something along those lines. He wants to send a vivid message that you cannot just keep running into me and just get away with it scot-free. Ross Chastain looked like a deer in the headlights after this race. He looked just like he was the victim in a terrible circumstance because now he knows what's going to happen to him. Justin Marks, on the other hand, he needs just to take 5 to 10 off. Just slow his roll down a little bit. You do not hear other team owners getting all up in arms like this man is. He just needs to relax, settle into his owner role, and just let them duke it out on track. He's got no business just sticking his nose into all these different situations right now. Ross, at the end of the day, is responsible for his own actions. He is the one in charge of his own car. I don't care how much damage is on that front nose. He's in a winning position on track. If he can't control his car, he does not deserve to be where he is. He's responsible for what happens to it and the cars around him. If he can't control it with some nose damage, I'm not saying it's not affecting it or anything like that. It definitely was, but not enough to say, well, he's out of this race. He is responsible for himself. Ross Chastain needs to clean it up and tighten it up and just pray that he's just not around Denny Hamlin in the last 10 races of this season. But back on to you. How do you feel about the Ross Chastain situation? How do you feel about Justin Marks? And do you think Denny Hamlin might even retaliate back at him some?
I enjoy seeing the aggression. You see it with the Joey Logano's, the Kyle Bushes. Difference is they own it. Joey Logano says, hell yeah, I wrecked him. Kyle Busch went, yeah, I wrecked him. Ross Chastain gives us a little apology at the end. It was nice to see, if you're going to wreck a guy, at least own it. At least own it. It's what as a race fan, we want to see. We wanted this action. Look, Ross is a likeable guy, but that comment he made, my car was damaged, so, I got tight. He has a gas pedal. He could have avoided that, but he just made it worse for himself. I don't think Justin Marks can defend his actions much longer without them coming back to haunt him. Both cars are in the playoffs, but I only think one's going to advance outside the round of 16, and Ross is making enough enemies to make it look like it's not going to be him. It's not going to be him making it out to 16. I think there's a lot of talk going around the Cup Garage more than actions, but again, it comes down to when does it matter most? The playoffs matter most. There's a lot of guys in the playoffs that he's angered, a lot of guys out of the playoffs that he's angered, sorry. It's not looking good for Ross at the moment. I hope it turns out alright for him. Again, likeable guy, love the celebration, love the attitude. But if he's going to wreck him, if he's going to wreck someone, he needs to own it. Okay, well, it is that time where me and Dan make our picks for the upcoming race weekend. We're going to try something different this week. We're going to make our main picks as we usually do, but we're going to use our underdogs. So, Dan, go ahead. Give me your first pick, your main, for this weekend at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Man, I always love a slight change of pace. So to start off with, we're looking at New Hampshire this weekend. And who's my honest-to-God pick? It's going to be the 45 of Kurt Busch. This man has 3 wins at this track over his entire career, which is a very long career. He's won back in his prime, back when he was with Roush and back when he was with Penske. Now, I think that he's got what it takes to do it again with the entire TRD stable behind him. Honestly, they are looking at Bubba Wallace saying, Bubba, we love you, but right now, we don't know if you got what it takes to win the championship for this team. Kurt Busch does. Now he's starting to get a lot of the best, the A-list equipment that 2311 and TRD have to offer. Kurt Busch is coming into this track with the experience, with the know-how. He's done it before. He's going to do it again this weekend. The number 45 is my pick going into New Hampshire.
Well, that sounds like a great option, but I feel like I've got one better. He's struggling this year, has done for the past 2, winless in over 60 races. Something I didn't feel like I'd be hearing after 2020. But I have gone for one Kevin Harvick, the closer, the man to get it done at New Hampshire Speedway. His 4 wins are tied with Jeff Burton for most all-time. That incredible battle in 2019 with Denny Hamlin. goes down as one of the greatest last couple of lap finishes I've personally seen as a recent race fan. I have a lot of faith in Harvick that this will be the place that he breaks that winless streak. He's been winless before in his career, multiple years with his Richard Childress racing days. I feel like it's nothing to worry about. He may be at the twilight of his driving career, but I feel like he'll have a few more wins. He has a very good chance of reaching 60, and I think he'll get one step closer this weekend. So, like I said, we're doing something different. Your underdog, please, Dan.
Alrighty, so underdog pick, huh? Let's give this a try. One of the names I keep seeing on the ticker all the time that I don't expect to see in the top 10, in the teens even, somewhere in the mid-20s is where I'd expect this. Justin Haley in that 31 car. I'm seeing him up front a lot, up front to notice it enough now, saying to myself, hold on a second, where did he come from? And he is not going away. He's racing up there with a lot of these guys where I feel like almost has no business racing. But he's there. He has a shot. I want everyone to start looking out for Justin Haley. I think that if you're looking to make a fantasy lineup and you got the points to spend, he is not a bad option. Look at this man. Watch him this next week. I think he's got something. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's going to get a top 10 finish and seal what I'm saying here. Back on to you, Elliot. Who do you think is going to be your underdog pick of the week? And who have we just not been noticing or giving enough credit to even?
Oh, the young guy, Justin Haley, respectable. Look, I'm not going to rule it out. I've seen what this new car can do. But I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to go with a guy that's had 7 top 10s this season, broken a top 5 at Sonoma, led laps at Gateway. I want Michael McDowell, a very rhythmic racer, a very patient racer, experienced, 15 years on the job. I feel like he could be just a little bit of a sleeper for you to keep your eye on, perhaps at the end of the race. I'm not going to say Gateway and New Hampshire are very similar. You have the outside with the banking, you have the inside with the flat. But you have Michael McDowell that will be fast on both. Well, unfortunately, it's that time where we have to say goodbye. Make sure you're following the Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube channels. I'll be trying to upload more on TikTok. But for now, I have been Elliot Camus. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ellie, for having me. Always a pleasure to be here on the show with you. Looking forward to Sunday. Like I always say, even though New Hampshire is probably one of my least favorite tracks, who am I to dispute what this new car has done? Who knows, I may come out of this week with a brand new appreciation for this track, with what these cars hopefully can do. If anybody watching at home has their own opinions, I would love to hear what you got to say down in the comments or right below. Tell me how wrong I am, how right he is. Give me a follow if you want. I'm trying to be more active on race day, specifically seeing if I could post anything throughout the weeks over at Cup Dates Dan on Twitter. But yeah, always a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you a ton for having me. Catching y'all soon.